Ladies and gentlemen, our next segment that we've planned for all of you is super duper interesting. I do this for a living, but never have I ever introduced a panel that is so off the records, right? So, our next panel is all about design partners, not just in life, but also work. We celebrate the remarkable partnerships that they've built, iconic structures together. For moderating this session, we have none other than Dr. Anuradha Chatterjee, Professor and Dean, School of Design and Innovation, RV University. Dr. Anuradha, with a big roaring round of applause, come on up. The lady with the toughest task, the moderator of the session, ensuring the couples remain amicable on stage as well. Dr. Chatterjee is an Indian-born Australian academic practitioner in architecture and design based in Australia and India. A big warm welcome, Dr. Anuradha. Please come on up. Big roaring round of applause, of course. Thank you so much. So just reiterating, the leaders henceforth, they're couples, they're partners in life and work. I don't know how is it that they do it. They're going to tell us very soon. Our very first leader pair that we'd like to call is Amita Kulkarni and Vikrant TK, the principal architect, SAV Architecture Goa, the founder and principal architects of SAV Architecture. They've worked on an array of projects including master plans, high-rises, hotel designs, luxury homes, you name it, they do it. Can we have Amita Kulkarni and Vikrant TK on stage? Thank you so much. Please come on up. The lovely pair, you have to answer whenever possible, how is it that you maintain this fine balance of partnership? Next in line, we have architect Tushar Kothavade and interior designer Chiranjeevi Lunkad, the principal architect, Studio Infinity, Pune. Please come on up, please come on up. They're the co-founders of Studio Infinity, a multidisciplinary design practice focused on creating spaces with good design values and is a platform where creativity is complemented by professional expertise. The star couple requesting you to... Ladies and gentlemen, our next segment that we've planned for all of you is super duper interesting. I do this for a living, but never have I ever introduced a panel that is so off the records, right? So our next panel is all about design partners, not just in life, but also work. We celebrate the remarkable partnerships that they've built, iconic structures together. For moderating this session, we have none other than Dr. Anuradha Chatterjee, Professor and Dean, School of Design and Innovation, RV University. Dr. Anuradha, with a big roaring round of applause, come on up. The lady with the toughest task, the moderator of the session, ensuring the couples remain amicable on stage as well. Dr. Chatterjee is an Indian-born Australian academic practitioner in architecture and design based in Australia and India. A big warm welcome, Dr. Anuradha. Please come on up. Big roaring round of applause, of course. Thank you so much. So just reiterating, the leaders henceforth, they're couples, they're partners in life and work. I don't know how is it that they do it. They're going to tell us very soon. Our very first leader pair that we'd like to call is Amita Kulkarni and Vikrant TK, the principal architect, SAV Architecture Goa, the founder and principal architects of SAV Architecture. They've worked on an array of projects including master plans, high-rises, hotel designs, luxury homes, you name it, they do it. Can we have Amita Kulkarni and Vikrant TK on stage? Thank you so much. Please come on up. The lovely pair, you have to answer whenever possible, how is it that you maintain this fine balance of partnership? Next in line, we have architect Tushar Kothavade and interior designer Chiranjeevi Lunkad, the principal architect, Studio Infinity, Pune. Please come on up, please come on up. They're the co-founders of Studio Infinity, a multidisciplinary design practice focused on creating spaces with good design values and is a platform where creativity is complemented by professional expertise. The star couple requesting you to kindly come on up and whenever time, do let us know the secret of how is it that you're pulling this off. Okay, next we'd like to call the star couple is architect Vaibhav Shah and architect Gauri Shah, the founders of Studio Facilis. This duo, they've successfully executed numerous projects in various cities and states. They have a penchant of challenging conventions and placing clients' vision at the forefront. Wow, okay, visionaries. The visionary couple kindly come on up with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, our last pair is architect Akshay Hiranjal and architect Aditi Pai Hiranjal, the co-founders of Purple Ink Studio all the way from Bangalore. The couple started their studio in 2011. They've been known for their innovation and sustainability approach to architecture. They use bold colors, geometric forms, and natural materials. My God. Okay, this is a very, very interesting panel. But yes, leader, stage is all yours. Big round of applause. Absolutely a wait for this amazing panel.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Wade Asia, and welcome myself back. I've been, the last time I came to Wade was 2019. So we'll get right down to it. Thank you for joining us, and it's great to connect with old and new friends. What we want to achieve with this panel is not so much about, I think, just the domestic lives, but I really want the collaborators, partners, couples to talk about is how they've shaped their professional lives around their their own domestic lives, I think. So I'm going to start with a couple of questions. And I think feel free to jump in. I think it should be fairly informal, hopefully not rigid, so don't be self-conscious to kind of cut each other. So just jump right in. I think anybody who wants to start, can you tell us a little bit about your background and journey and how you decided to become partners in life and work? So whoever wants to jump in can go for it.
Love at first sight. That wasn't our case. So I think what got us together was passion for our work. Both of us we literally like eat, sleep, dream, live design. And this passion got us together. Both of us practiced in the same firm in Pune. And that is where we started with our journey. Then post that, we started taking up projects together, and then life happened together. So that's about our background in design and our personal lives.
Does anybody else want to share how you ended up together in work and life?
Yeah, so I and Gauri are same batchmates and classmates as well. We were thick group mates. And towards fourth and final year, best of the friends. Then 1 year into the field, and it was simultaneous. We felt that best friends could make best life partners too. And so that is how mutually we committed to each other. And as being a life partner, business happened.
Oh, good to know. Do you guys want to?
So, Aditi and I actually come from completely different backgrounds.
Yeah.
We knew each other, but Aditi always had her mind in the idea of landscape. So that drew her to CEPT. She was doing a landscape, master's in landscape there. I've always been very rationalist in terms of the way I approach things. So I was working with 3 different gurus. There was Karan Grover, Sami Padora, and Sanjay Puri. So when we decided to start together, and also I think getting married or something was not on our mind at all. I think it was an offset of what we wanted to do together in terms of the work. So we decided to move to a place which we were not comfortable with. So we went to Bangalore, where none of us belonged to. I was born there, but I never lived in Bangalore. So Aditi was she completed a master's from Ahmedabad. I was coming from Bombay. So we like this, being a little uncomfortable sometimes and start off because you're treated as an outsider, and that allows you no baggage. So that's how we began.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing. You guys anybody wants to?
Yeah. So in our case, me and Vikrant know each other since we are teenagers, but we've gone completely separate paths before we kind of decided to join hands and obviously join in work as well. He was studying fashion, nothing to do with architecture, and then sound, and then he went to London. I went to London on my own, and we kind of ended up knowing each other for a long time till we started kind of realizing that we have similar interests in design and architecture, and kind of just organically, it made us into partners doing competitions on our own, and then ended up landing work and being in a relationship and in work as well together.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that overview. I just want to dig a little bit deeper and ask you a little to maybe just speak to this idea about how do you articulate, I mean, can you just think about that? How do you articulate your personal and intellectual identity? How do you maintain your identity in a collaboration? And if there's anybody who wants to jump in, and in terms of your, design vocabulary, the way you, converse about design, the way you manage teams, is there a way in which you also articulate your individuality and a unique identity? Because I think, collaborations are kind of, combinations of individuals, really strong individuals. So I just wanted, if you have any, if anybody wanted to just reflect on that, I think, yeah.
When we talk about collaboration, the word in itself means that individual or the self has to go back and your collaboration has to be in the front. So for us, although we are two different individuals, although we have two different ways of looking at things, although we have two different perspectives about what we are doing, whether it is life or design or whatever, I think when we end up doing something for the firm, then all this subsides. And the only focus then remains the final goal of creating meaningful designs at the end of the day. So if in that ways, I think although we come from different thought processes altogether, at some point in time, they all simultaneously just completely merge into one. That is where I feel the individual self takes a backseat, and then the larger goal is catered to. So that is how probably we look at it.
Yeah, thank you. Vaibhav, you were nodding. I think you wanted to say something? Yeah.
We as individuals are completely different, and as he said, that we have our own set of struggles and conflicts also. But when we look at a larger part of it, and in firm's interest, we come together, manage to negotiate many things, put behind so many differences, and then work towards one goal of, creating a better product for our client.
Yeah. Does anybody else want to speak to that? I think you wanted to say, yeah.
So as a studio, while Akshay and me started it, and we are about a team of 35 now, how we function is that it's really not about Akshay or me, to bring out the design or to take certain decisions. We work very horizontal, so that's why everybody who's part of the studio is part of the decision making. So we are 4 of us actually who I may just call it just holding the fort, just in case there is something that needs to be managed. But otherwise, it's completely horizontal, and us as individuals are completely dissolved in the whole process. Otherwise,
Nice.
So in our case, we negotiate, we talk to each other, but also we have many interests: music, fashion, as she said, traveling, and we try and put those things on the table a lot, and they somehow feed into our design decision making.
Yeah.
So it's quite an easy transition for us when it comes to showcasing our personal identities, or it's not like marking a territory, but understanding each other's interest, respecting them, and then taking things further,
Yeah.
So it's kind of one, it's not a separate thing, work and life, it's very similar to each other.
Yeah. And sorry, did you want to say something? No, I was going to just follow up on that and say, well, do you kind of consciously reflect on your strengths and say, well, maybe you should do this, and has that kind of evolved over time that you really play to your strengths? That also really adds to the collaboration, that you are really self-conscious that yes, I'm actually really good at this and I'm going to do this. Do you play to your strength rather than not addressing the weaknesses, but really talking about playing to your strengths? Do you feel like you've kind of done that over the years?
So I think being together 24/7, we know each other in and out. Yeah. So we know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And our individual strength fill up each other's weaknesses. So I would rather put it that ways. And over the years, we know that, who is good at what. So it just seamlessly happens that, like maybe I would just get into the project, he will just step out. It just seamlessly happens. We don't even plan out those things because like I know where I am good at or what is my forte, and similarly he does the same.
Yeah, great. And what are your strengths? What kind of, I just want to, can you talk a little bit about what your strengths, individual strengths are? You kind of gravitate towards those sorts of things?
So I think Tushar's individual strength is
Yeah.
he is a great, he is a people's man. So he can manage people well. He is a good leader. And me as a personality, I'm very introvert. So I would always like take a backstage. I would look after the office, back office, back end work, or I'm more into detailing in terms of design. He will have a macro perspective about projects
Yeah,
and
great.
overall
Yeah.
space planning.
Wonderful, yeah. Amita, did you want to comment as well?
Yeah, definitely, because between me and Vikrant, we are both very headstrong, but we are extremely gifted in different segments, so that's a great positive for the studio. And as she said, for any good partnership to work, I think just not with couples, for any partnership, I think people need to recognize their skills. So for example, in our studio, and of course it's a team effort now, but if you see from both of us, I would be more in charge of putting things together. I'm much more logical and yeah, kind of. I think most women would kind of get into that segment.
You're more logical than Vikrant?
Yeah, I can handle clients more diplomatically,
Yeah,
or
okay.
just people diplomatically. Vikrant is very headstrong and very bold in the way he would push everyone out of their comfort zone, and really try to make the project as innovative as possible. So that way, it's kind of divided in that terms, and we kind of recognize that skill sets and we work with that. And as he said, as Tushar said before, at the end, the project is the final goal.
Yeah.
It's not about him or her or even the rest of the members of the team. It's really everyone is working to make the project work together.
Yeah, you're very project focused, which is really good. You've got the goal in eye. Aditi, did you want to talk about that? Or, maybe just reflect on what your strengths are. Do you always play to your strengths? And do you kind of take, swap roles based on what capabilities are required for any particular situation?
I think, like Chiranjeevi also said, I think, it's been 12 years we are running this, the studio now, or since we started the studio. I think by now we've sort of reached a stage, because initially it was really about sort of building a language which is a blurring of boundaries between architecture and landscape, since both of us came from very different backgrounds, and we consciously did not want to have two separate verticals in the beginning. So it was really about, blending the two and finding our way of working. And I think that has taken an evolution, and it has reached a point where now it is very seamless. And it's also we've reached a point where even if there is a certain architecture or an interior crisis where I can step in, or if there's a certain landscape
What are
crisis.
Akshay's strengths?
I'm sorry?
What are Akshay's strengths?
What are his strengths?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I think one of his biggest strengths is about inspiring the whole team and keeping the whole team together. He's one who's always watching a whole lot of Korean cinema, watching a lot of, he's watched all matches of Mike Tyson, so there are a lot of things which really inspire him, and then we sort of start interpreting that in our works. And he's actually putting that effort in sharing it with everybody else, of what he does in his free time otherwise as well.
Great, good to hear. Gauri, did you want to also talk about whether, you kind of also balance that? Like you have certain strengths that Weber may not have, and that you kind of consciously build on that as you deal with projects, clients, yeah.
Besides the actual projects that we have to handle, as other architects have shared, I would like to share one thing is like Weber is a thorough task master. So in the process, there are many tough things and challenges that we go through. So in that, you have to manage your team also. the HR related issues, and so that I take part. So because I take that on my
Fantastic,
side
yeah.
and manage those things to talk to maybe contractors or vendors sometimes, or talk to the team members and counseling that part is also there.
I just wanted to also talk about this idea that I'm sure that your partnership is really balanced and collaborative and equitable. But generally we know that I think I've circulated this question that, when we talk about especially women as part of a collaboration, as a male-female collaboration, there are still, at least in society, in the broader construction industry, there's still cultural biases against women. And has that ever come up in your experience, and how have you dealt with that? Because I know a lot of women who work in collaboration are often rendered invisible because of, then say, oh, are you also, do you work for your husband? There is that kind of nonsense bias that society has and the industry has overall. I wonder if it's come up and if that's ever made you uncomfortable, and if you've ever had to really push against those kind of biases. Does anybody want to talk about that?
Actually,
Vaibhav,
I have a different opinion. Actually, in our 20 years of practice, rather we have never come across where we feel like it's a gender-based, like
Yeah. Oh, that's
women are
great. Yeah.
looked down upon. It's never the case.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say the clients are more happy. It is like usually they would consult a woman first. As far as aesthetics is concerned,
That's
like
wonderful.
woman is
Yeah.
the boss.
Well, that's a blessing. Yeah, that's I don't know what to say. You're lucky, or that's maybe things have changed. I think that's great, actually. Yeah. But I've generally heard that reported that that people, women talk about that somehow, it's kind of
I had between us, like I have
Yeah.
a different experience because all the clients wants to talk to Amita more than they want to talk to me.
because you're headstrong.
Because for them, I'm more like an entertainment channel,
Yeah.
But when it comes to work, they talk to her.
Yeah.
When it comes to manipulation, they talk to me,
Wonderful, yeah.
And I think same in the teams, like when we work, they discuss with me, my team agree with me, but then she has a final call. So
Yeah.
I have a problem there. I've not heard enough.
I think, I think it's been something that everyone has sort of accepted through years, that,
Yeah.
the men are really looking at all the techno, making it big, the macro side of it, whereas the women are actually looking at the aesthetic, the interior color,
That's not true.
Not
Yeah.
at all, I
No.
think. Yeah. So I think that's not true at all. And in fact, at the studio we have everybody, doing very hardcore work,
Yeah.
be it
Yeah.
couple of lakh square feet of project or a small project, because we do all kinds. So I think women are really managing everything, and there have been no clients. In fact, there are many clients who are women as well. So it's just, it also just tells you that, they're on the bosses of...
That's a very
yeah.
interesting spin. I think, how is it like to work with women clients as opposed to men? Now, I think because it's about women-led development, I think I want to just deviate from the agenda a little bit and talk a little bit about how it's been like to deal with, I think, as a partnership, as a couple, also with women. Do they kind of talk and articulate projects differently? Do they interact differently as compared to male clients? Do they? Sorry, it was not on the agenda. I kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I feel it's even easier to deal with women who understands nuances of, say, a commercial entity and design and aesthetics and all of that in comparison with probably a man, because he would just come with his self-ego into the conversation. So that ways, I think with dealing with women clients has been easy for us in a way. I would like to actually bring another point in this conversation, is that we also have a lot of women designers as colleagues in the studio.
Yeah.
And right from day one of our practice, we have never put them on the back foot. So we've always promoted them in going to the sites, talking to contractors, dealing with agencies, dealing with clients, which to me, I think that is the way things should be.
Yeah.
Especially now, Chiranjeevi being equally a part of this entire game that we have at the studio, even they have something to look up to.
Yeah.
The way she would manage site, way she would manage family and home affairs and all of that together. So that is the way we look forward for our studio, where it's not about, the question about gender bias just shouldn't be there. And I think it is our mindset which pushes us to think in that direction.
Yeah.
If that doesn't exist at all, then it's not the question. It's about equality, and it's more about the larger picture. Then we are talking about, say, design, and we are talking about aesthetics, and we are not talking about whether it's a man or a woman looking into it.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. That's exactly what Aditi talked about. And I think, Amita, did you want to say something? You've got the microphone. Did you want to add
I just
to
want
that?
to add, I think having a lot of women in the design industry in the last 10, 20 years, I think has changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think the biases are more, not really, maybe the other, as Vikrant said, maybe the gender bias is more towards now women looked as upon as the more aesthetic part of the industry, and hence clients probably want to talk to you more.
More accessible.
More as opposed to the man,
Yeah.
probably, right? So it might happen that the gender bias might go the other way around, in the next 10 years. So I think also having, when you have a women forerunner in the company, it automatically makes more women involved in the teams, and you get more women sticking around, because that was the biggest problem, right?
More
That
women
women
at
used
the
to
table.
leave
Yeah,
the
exactly.
architecture industry in the next in the 2-3 years after they graduate, but that's
Yeah.
not anymore the case,
Yeah.
and that's why I think it's going to change drastically, even more in the next 10 years. I think.
Yeah. No, I think all of you are talking about this issue that there are more women at the table now, and that it's all hands on deck. Not any people are not pigeonholed into doing certain things because somehow it's people think that that's what you should be doing. I think I want to talk a little bit about getting life and work balance and separation. And do you achieve that? I mean, increasingly we are constantly working, and I think if you live together and work together, that probably is much harder to balance, because in general people are not balancing it. So I'm just wondering, would it be even harder for you, and how do you balance it? And have you not thought about it, or it's just happening unself-consciously? Oh, yeah.
So I think for us, how it happens, it's not work and it's not life, it's together. So work is life and life is work. We just cannot separate the two. Like when we are in the house, we discuss work. When we are at work, we discuss about house things, family things also. So our daughter is 12 years old and she's a part of the studio as much as we are.
Sweet.
So I think for us that really doesn't happen. There in fact isn't any balance. There's a juggling between managing all things, managing each other's schedule. So that is how it works for us.
I was wondering if you're able to draw a line and then they said this is project time and this is family time, and now this is 100% family time.
Yeah, I would like to take that. I think we've always lived the life of an artist. You'll never ask an artist saying, when do you stop thinking? Like,
Yeah.
would you ever ask A.R. Rahman saying,
No, yeah.
are you able to complete that, or are you going back home
Yeah,
and starting off with something else? It's the same with, I think, almost all
It's
of
a
us.
continuum, isn't it? It's a continuum. It doesn't. You can't
because
really.
I don't think there's ever a possibility to
Yeah.
disconnect.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the problems that you would take home. I'm talking in terms of the life that we would all like to live. Is the idea of being in a continuum, because there's so much that's happening. There's so much that's within all of us
Yeah.
that the life of an artist is what allows us to think like that all the time.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've never had to disconnect ever. At least
Yeah.
even when I was working with different offices, I've never had that disconnect at all. I think that bias has never been there in my life.
Yeah.
And I think with us as a studio has also always been like
Yeah.
that. It's not that we overlap our work too much into the life,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's about ideas. It's about life in a very different sense, more,
Yeah.
more as an artist.
Yeah, great. And so you're able to balance it. This is what I was after, to understand that you're able to balance what your personal interests are with your work interests.
I think can you hear? I think for us it's the way personally we work is we always tell each other that we are pro,
Yeah.
So we work like a pro. So when comes to discussions like, are we artists? I'm like, no, I'm a pro, And we start at certain time, we end at certain time.
Yeah.
We make decisions, we take it further.
Yeah.
We don't like to go in circles, in romanticism too much. You know? And I think sometimes it helps to take the studio further and to achieve the goals, to do things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's, in this industry, it's not just about us. There are like thousands of people involved, like clients, labor, contractors, taxi drivers, so many people involved, So I think you always have a bigger picture, like we have to deliver this by this time.
Yeah.
So let's make a call. And that also helps us to wrap up early to spend time with family also.
Yeah.
And also, as I think everyone says, we talk family at work and we talk work in the house,
Yeah.
So that is always there. There's
Yeah.
always there, And,
Yeah.
kids are involved,
Yeah.
nannies are involved, drivers are knowing things, like it's quite exposed sometimes, that we don't care after a while, like, fuck it,
It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing that you talk family at work. But I think a lot of people say that it's probably not great to talk work and family.
We also live in Goa.
Yeah.
Lifestyle is different,
Yeah.
Goa, kids are like little animals
Yeah.
around you all the time.
Yeah.
And you're on the beach talking sometimes, or you're at work, or outside, or it's a village at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you cannot get away with it.
Yeah.
This is getting away, like this last night and today for us. Like, wow, amazing. Fuck family today. So,
Look, I think I just want, thank you for that. I just want everybody, all of you to kind of maybe just give me a closing statement on, I think, ways to proceed. And I think you've shared some really good tips. You talked about project focus. You talked about, kind of balancing and moving in seamlessly in and out, knowing when I should step in, when he should step in, or, So what do you think are the kind of key takeaways on how people, and I think it's not about gendered collaboration, I think it's collaboration in general and how teams should work. Are there any kind of, so I want you to think maybe just broadly and share maybe a few words on that in closing. If we'll start with you, how to proceed, how to work effectively in a team, gender or personal, domestic, gender, ungendered, doesn't matter, but how to work effectively in a team. Yeah.
I feel the biggest problem is me in any kind of a conversation or any kind of dealings that we enter into. So if you just mirror it upwards, it becomes we. So from the transition from me to we itself defines that your collaboration is on the right track. So for me, I think the biggest takeaway from the way we both have been working over the years is, we all spoke about it being very seamless, it being completely gelling with each other and stuff like that. But I think it is also about we taking away our own self, our own alter egos out of the conversation and purely trying to focus on the larger goal, as I said at the start. So the takeaway is moving away from me and focusing on we.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you. Great. Chiranjeev, did you? Couple of lines.
So for me, if it is about me, then what better to have somebody 24/7 around you with whom you can share. There is someone to care for, where you can vent out your frustration when it's needed. Someone who understands you well, supports you at the right time, takes a back seat at the right time, gives you your own space. So I think this is about collaboration. And I think the chemistry certainly works better if it is life partners as well as business partners.
Chemistry is an important word in any collaboration, I think. That's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If the vibes are wrong, you can't work together. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chiranjeev. Yeah, Amita?
I mean, again, I think the industry has changed quite a bit. The whole idea of architect being as a single person who sketches and then tells someone to draft is totally changed. The entire process has changed, at least for our studio. It's totally process-driven. It's extremely collaborative. It's also collaborative not just within the team, but even outside the team. You have, artists, makers, artisans, contractors, consultants. So there's a huge team effort, as Vikrant said, that actually makes the project happen. And I think it's not just in couples who are partners, but general partnerships today are so much more collaborative, and that's the way how the entire industries are working. So I think we are not away from that,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Vikrant?
For me, it's all about me, But I don't have a choice. I have to work with everyone around me. You know? But in my heart, I'm like, I'm the only person on the planet doing amazing things. And but she's like, no.
Yeah.
Even, like, even the interns, like, no.
Collaboration is not easy for everybody, and there are many. There's an ugly side to
For-
collaboration. There are lots of
for-
tears.
yeah.
You're not telling us, but I'm sure collaboration
Yeah, there's a lot
is
of
such a
frustration.
romantic word. But I don't think it's so easy.
It's
and it
not.
doesn't.
It's
no.
not.
Yeah.
I did my masters also at the AA, and it was a 6-people team.
Yeah.
And my entire thesis was about how much I hate them. You know? But the end result was we had an opening day
Yeah.
on a certain date at a certain time,
Yeah.
and we delivered that.
Yeah.
So it's about how you deliver a product, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
as a team, keeping the differences aside and everything.
Yeah.
And that's what we always call each other, like, let's play like a pro, you know,
Yeah.
and deliver
Yeah.
the stuff. But yeah, it's about me.
Yeah, so can I just add something to this? In collaboration, sometimes it becomes difficult when you have to convince your partner more than that what you have to convince to the client. So I think collaboration,
We will come. We'll do another panel on collaboration. One. We're just like I'm just getting the nudge. We should wrap up quickly. So Akshay, quickly, then Aditi, and then Gauri, and yeah. Can we just get to the
Yeah, so
yeah.
one of the things that has changed over years, like what Amita was also saying, is the idea of a master is almost not there anymore, where
Yeah,
somebody's
right.
sitting in a cabin, sending out sketches, and then you take it ahead. Maybe the question then would have been very different, because then is there somebody else that you rely on, or do you go unbiased and you just go straight away with your idea? In our case, it's always been very democratic in terms of the way things are looked at.
Yeah,
So
nice.
every time there's a project, we all huddle together. Of course, there's some idea that we initiate with. There's a strong storytelling that happens. And there are people we bank on a lot, which goes beyond just the two of us.
Yeah.
And I feel that's the way
That's
we are
the
looking
way.
at moving ahead.
Yeah,
The idea of collaboration being a lot more democratic
Yeah.
rather than just the two of us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Aditi,
So
yeah.
we've, since we started with just a studio, just two of us, we had to, and definitely we were going to bring in more people. We had to learn how to make this process, more enriching as we bring in, more people onto the team. So I think we then started looking externally, other than field of architecture, to look at how teams in cricket work, to look at how, how movie making is made, because that's when it tells us that there are different expertise that different people sort of bring onto the table. And then we sort of look at that, and then which are the teams that you need for a particular project. So you're really playing with the strengths of each team, from the team, and then the collaboration then starts growing from there
and
on.
you manage the strengths. Yeah, I
Yes,
got it.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Aditi. Gauri, quickly, and
For
then Weber.
me,
We have to
yeah,
wrap up. Sorry.
Collaboration has worked out
Yeah.
fantastically well.
Yeah.
So quickly, like if I have to say, it has made me a better person and a better designer.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Nice, lovely words. Thank you. And Weber, finally.
Yeah, so at Facilis, we always say about we. As Tushar said, okay, it's not me and it's a mirror image we.
Yeah.
So we have imprinted we on one of our walls at studio.
Oh, do you?
So it says, WEV. And so it's not about I or us or about him or her. It's
Yeah.
always about we.
Yeah, and it's beyond ego, it's kind of giving up your
Yeah.
ego and really working on. So thank you guys so much, and we'll close there.
Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee. Thank you, amazing power couples, and of course, team Merino and Miss Vartika. Thank you so much, Dr. Chatterjee.